Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome to the 8th round of the 99th Hastings International. And hello, Matthew.
Hello, everyone.
Shall we go straight to board one with
Let's
Ginger GM?
dive into the action.
Yes.
Metaphorically. Let me just put that straight like that. That's pretty good. So, yeah, this is very interesting. So, well, Simon had a great win against top seed Pierre Laurent Pauli in the 7th round. Very tough battle. I mean, I think Black was kind of better out of the opening, but in some opposite-coloured rook and bishop ending, something went a bit wrong for Pierre, and Simon put it away. Yeah, I mean, fantastic. So if we just have a quick look, actually, at the scores on the doors, that's maybe quite interesting. We can see that. We've got 4 players on 5.5. We've got the he's 17 apparently. The German IM Marius Doyer.
Okay.
We've also got Bennett Hagner as well, another German IM, and then the English duo Simon Williams and Alex Golding, who had a bananas game this morning, absolutely bananas. And he beat the Romanian international master to get to 5.5 points. Then just behind them, we've got a whole posse on 5. Saruna Solskis, who beat Kenneth Hobson this morning. I think Kenneth got his variations a little bit mixed up and unfortunately fell prey to a very violent kingside attack. Frederick Carson, who I think he drew this morning with Marius. I think that's right. Wojciech Platt and Alexander Kovchan were the only 2 to take a short draw. There's unbelievable fighting spirit on a New Year's Day's morning. They took a very quick draw. And then Attila Kuru, who did he play? Oh, he drew with Stephen Gordon. That's right. Just quite a solid game there. And there's a whole posse on 4.5 afterwards. So very, very tight. Impossible to say, yeah, who's going to make this, basically. But obviously,
Happy New Year, Ocelot, and hello, Tricky.
Hello, Tricky. Hello, Ocelot. Happy New Year. So what we've got Simon Williams against Bennett Hagner. So Simon with white.
And he didn't play in English this time. He did D4.
No. I mean, Simon is a big D4 player as well. You know, I mean, he's played many lines in D4. And the Ragazin came up. So very solid system. But Simon played Bishop G5. And here, if you want to be really solid, which might have been advisable against Simon, then H6 is the super solid variation. And the point is that if white goes bishop h4, then d takes c4 is actually a really nice version of this sort of pawn sacrifice line. And if you take the main line is to take on f6, but then these are incredibly solid variations. For example, queen a4, knight c6 check, and you can take on d5 or you can go e3. But I mean, there's really very solid this. But Black played the much sharper d takes c4, which transposes back into the Vienna. Only the point is, with the normal Vienna is d takes c4, but then white has the option of playing e4, bishop b4, and then bishop takes c4, which has been played enormously at the highest level. It's a potential double pawn sacrifice, and yeah, Black can take on c3. And then return the bishop to d6 or to e7, or Black can play knight f6, also possible.
As they can't play bishop takes c3.
No, bishop c3 is very risky to give up the bishop like that. But what you do with this move order, you force white into the bishop g5 variation of the Vienna, but you commit yourself to the bishop b4 reply to bishop g5. So yeah, I mean, all sorts of swings and roundabouts to it, but essentially this is a pretty sharp line. So e4 c5. And then bishop takes c4 is possible, but I think that Simon did something very clever here, because I do like his choice of a variation here. He played the move e5, and after c takes d4, queen a4 check is possible. I think we've pointed this one out before in our stream. It's a piece sacrifice in actual fact. So white eventually wins this pawn, but black gets 3 pawns. Actually, it's the line in which Kostenyuk, Alexander Kostenyuk, once beat Vichy Anand in a rapid game.
Yeah.
So, but Simon played knight takes d4, bishop takes c3 check, b takes c3, all well-known theory. Queen a5, hitting that pawn, and also sort of looking at the bishop on g5. E takes f6, queen takes g5, f takes g7, queen g7, and queen d2. And we are still very much in super heavy theory here. 105 games in the Masters database. Do I dare look at how many in Lichess? Just 81. Oh, it's one of those surprising things. Probably not a very you need to know quite a bit in order to play this as both black and white. So I mean, Simon hasn't played particularly quickly, so I don't know how fresh this is in his mind, but
neither players played all that quickly.
No, black hasn't played that quickly either. And I can tell you that I mean, whenever I've looked at the at books on the Vienna variation, it's a Queen's Gambit, variant. So I've ended up looking at it a fair amount. This has always been the line where I've thought, oh God, I'm not sure about this for black. Black has to, the point is, black's king doesn't have any great spots. The center is a little bit airy, and you might get hit with something like this. Queen's side is obviously also quite airy, and king's side, you've lost your G pawn. So there's always that element of having an unsafe king. And if you castle king's side, which is normally where you put it, there is stuff like h4 and rook h3 to g3.
That must be why Simon plays this line.
And
he loves doing that sort of thing.
Exactly. I mean, there's the point is in actual fact that it's one of those lines which, if you're very precise with black, you hold the equality with no problem. But remembering it, and it doesn't come up very often, is actually quite difficult. So I think it's a brilliant practical challenge, this. So I would imagine that at the moment black's desperately trying to think, do I go castles first, or is it bishop d7 first? Or is it knight d7? All of these lines are possible, and castles I think is the best move, and bishop d7 I think is the other move, to go knight c6. But yeah, it's very hard it can be very hard to piece together those lines, and I get the feeling that Bennett is also going through that process somehow. So could be very interesting. There was a fascinating game, Carlsen Aronian, in this one, where white castle queen side, and Peter Heine Nielsen wrote an article actually explaining how they were inspired by AlphaZero in order to come up with this idea. There was castling queen side and h4 as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm just sort of I'm quite positive about this for Simon. I think it's a very good opening choice. I like the opening choice, and going to be be a test of Bennett's opening knowledge and ability to piece it all together. It's quite a tough little puzzle he's got there. So should be very interesting, this one. Let's maybe go on to board 3, because we've got Alex Golding, who's also on 5.5. And I mean, if you have a look how Alex has done, he's beaten all the players he needed to. He lost to Marius Doyer, who's in shared first, but he's had a really nice run. He drew with Pierre-Laurent Pauli, then he beat Tim Grutte, international master from Holland, who I know very well, and then he had this crazy game this morning against Samuel Timotai Gimpu, the Romanian IM. And now he's playing Wojciech Platt, who's had a nice rest, Wojciech, this morning. So that's pretty good.
He took a bye, did he?
No. He took a very quick
just
draw against Alexander Kovchan. I do have to say that Wojciech is somebody who plays so fast. You know, you sort of feel, oh, did he really need the rest somehow? But yeah, it's anyway. That's we'll see how this game has gone. So Alex has played. How old is Alex actually? Is he?
I think he's still a teenager. Let me just.
He's still a teenager, I think, isn't he?
Maybe he's not. Let me just check. Alex, year of birth 2003, so he's 22.
22. Oh, he's a little bit older. Yeah. I mean, the Goldings played for Guildford. Yeah, I'm right in saying that they played for Guildford and seem to have been around.
Played Ashted, where are you? Right, mine. Oh. Yeah, right near where I was.
And so it seemed to have been around for forever somehow. But
there's how many? 3. There's William and Alex. Maybe it's 2.
Is it 2? Isn't it, I think?
Yeah, can't remember.
In any case, we got a Scotch. Oh, this was a system that I suggested to you once in the Scotch, Natasha. So giving a little Chegoruni and then going back to E7.
Yeah.
The idea of giving the check is that the white knight can't come to C3. You know, which is so you lose a tempo like that. You give white the tempo C3, but it's not necessarily a great one. Tony Miles played this idea an awful lot. It's one of it's a typical sort of Tony thing, you know, to somehow avoid opening theory.
Is this the one you were suggesting I played with Ali Reza?
No, that was another one. We've moved on to another system that you played, but
I played plenty.
This one you didn't like somehow at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. But so bishop f4. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, bishop f4 looks a little bit. I wonder why bishop f4 is played. I guess to wants to meet knight f6 with e5 and doesn't want to commit himself to f4. You know, which is probably more aggressive, I guess. So bishop f4 is just that you sort of feel after d6, what is that bishop really doing then? Not that much. So bishop c4 played, just sort of standard development. Knight f6, knight d2. Castles, and bishop e6. But I have to say, I mean, black's just got a perfectly fine position here. You know, I mean, all the pieces are nicely placed, and you're maybe looking for d5 here. I mean, after queen e2, it must be said that d5 looks quite tempting for black, I have to say. Just feels very, very nice. But Alex played much more quietly there. He went bishop c4, queen takes c4 played, and again, d5 feels rather tempting again, but I guess there might be a reason why not. But you know, for example, I just take with a knight here, and I'm threatening that one. I can chase the queen away and then play bishop d6. I can't think there's very much wrong with that. But yeah, Alex played
Marcus USA. Is that like bishop b4 check and then goes to a Bogo Indian?
Oh, yeah, I think I know what you're referring to. You're talking about this sort of line in the Bogo Indian, I think, and then you come like this somehow. Yeah, some bishop e7. Yeah, here, I mean, in the Bogo Indian, it's a different idea, but again, it's the idea of wasting a tempo in the opening in order to slightly misplace your opponent's pieces. With the Bogo, the idea is always that it's kind of related to the idea that this bishop will never be able to find a permanent spot on d2, so it'll have to move again sometime. And by putting it to d2 and forcing it to move again, you're sort of restricting white's choices. So here there's a somewhat even more concrete idea, simply that here you're forcing the pawn to c3 to stop a knight moving to c3. But the idea is the same, you know, the willingness to spend a tempo, kind of half a tempo, I suppose you'd say, in order to reduce the opponent's possibilities. Because yeah, I mean, the normal lines here, if you go bishop b6, knight c3, these are very, very exciting and aggressive. So yeah, and you know, Tony Miles, a great English player, he was an expert at avoiding people's preparation, you know, and finding ways to just get out of the opening alive somehow and live to, you know, and just just make it into a fight on that game, and then he'd find something else in another game. But here, actually, yeah, I mean, I think Black had some decent opportunities to have liquidated the game early. But yeah, I mean, Alex chosen to sort of keep the game going. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with Black's position. Black's very, very solid here. Got a pair of minor pieces exchanged. Which basically, I mean, Black's got less space, but with a pair of minor pieces off the board, you know, Black's got plenty of room for all the pieces. You can find a good spot for all of the pieces. You know, knight can come to b6. You've even got knight e5 to swap off some more. Yeah, I mean, this is very, very even, basically. So looking good for Alex, I would say. Let's have a look. Who have we got? Is there looking at an exciting game here? I was just wondering how the opening had gone here. Let me just have a look. Interesting. Yeah,
Queen's Gambit accepted.
Queen's Gambit accepted. You know all about this, don't you, Natasha?
Yeah, I learnt it.
It's I played this. Yeah, I played it a lot in my professional time as well. But actually, what Black has done is played a rather new system that's been popularized by Gukesh. So and he's done it in two ways. He against Hikaru. So just to start off, normally the normal way for Black to play is playing a quick c5. So either c5 immediately and then castles a6, intending to play b5, b5 and bishop b7, or sometimes you start with a6 and then you go c5. Various subtleties to why you might do that, but the basic, the good old-fashioned way of playing, which is the way I played it all the time, is to play a quick c5 and put pressure on the white center. So what Gukesh did against Nakamura in the last round of the candidates, where he needed a draw in order to qualify for the World Championship, he played this move,
yes.
bishop
and
e7.
This is in Narayanan's Chessable course.
That's right. Yeah, it's in Narayanan's chess course on Chessable. Very yeah, very surprising. But Nakamura did not manage to get a single sausage against him. In fact, Nakamura was even a little bit worse during the game. So you know, very impressive. But this was the first time I think that Gukesh had played bishop e7, because what he'd done previously is play the move a6, castles and bishop e7, which is what Black does here. This is I mean, with bishop e7, the idea is to play c5 as quickly as possible, but actually after having castled, so having got your king safe. With this variation, the idea is more to avoid c5 and play the bishop to the long diagonal, maybe b5, bishop b7, maybe b6, knight bd7. There's I believe, I'm pretty sure that there's a book on this on the Everyman, or how it's now called, a Popular Chess label, by not a grandmaster or anything, a player called, I think it's Nicolas Yap. I'm pretty sure that's right. And he did an amazing job of looking at all these variations, and I was quite astounded, because, you know, I was a big Queen's Gambit accepted player, a really big expert back in the day. It was really an opening I knew really, really well. And yet I was looking at these variations. I was thinking, yeah, you know, it doesn't look like anything that I ever did in my time. You know, that was really an example of how you know, really completely new systems have come along. And you know, of course, you know, the problem with not playing c5 is that white could potentially go for a very quick e4. And back in my day, I mean, I analyzed stuff like this, but I thought, oh, it's too risky. You know, it's all. But of course, you know, with engine help, they help you balance the most tricky lines. And yeah, I mean, this has ended up working out really well. The nice idea of delaying c5, that's maybe the last point, just to is that after c5, one of white's most dangerous lines is to go for this queen ending. And players like Bareyev and Kramnik made a very unpleasant living by doing this. I mean, it's possible to play these well as black, but they're very unpleasant. I mean, they came up with all sorts of ideas with complicated knight maneuvers and all sorts of things on the dark squares. Very unpleasant. Back in the day, Boris Spassky was a very big expert in these lines. He was the first who really started playing like this. And in the return match against Bobby Fischer was playing a lot of Queen's Gambit Accepteds, and he had a bit of a torrid time in the Queen's Gambit Accepted against Boris. So you avoid that basically by delaying c5. And what black has done here, Queen
You
e2,
put the knight in the way, can't you?
b5, knight bd7. And then one of the bizarre things that you do in this line is so White's delayed putting the knight on.
Hi, Wilsonia.
Hey, Wilsonia. White's delayed putting the knight on c3 here, with the idea of undermining the queen side. So
I know this line. Yeah.
So if you play a move like b4, the knight comes to d2 straight away. If the knight was on c3, it would be attacked. It would have to come back, but it goes straight away into c4, which is a nice soft square for the knight. Now, truth be told, I did a lot of analysis of these positions. I decided that it wasn't as bad as always thought, if the knight gets to c4 quickly. But what the black players are doing here is not even just playing b4 or playing b takes a4, just sacrificing the b pawn.
Yeah, and then you take
x takes, rook a8, queen a8, bishop takes b5, castles, knight c3, and well, here c5 was played in a game between Godenna and Pierluigi Basso, two Italian players. Michele Godenna is our generation, in fact. He's very nice guy. I've played him a number of times. Good, strong player, Italian grandmaster. Yeah, c5 is a possibility, but here black played c6 first, and after bishop c4 played c5. And yeah, it's one of those positions where you sort of say, well, isn't black just a pawn down? And it's kind of true. It really is true. Only it's not that easy for white to make something of that extra pawn, because it's isolated. Black's very active. However, truth be told, this is something that, I mean, I'm actually interested to see, what does the engine say about it? Yeah, plus 0.3. So the engine says, moi, slight advantage, nothing spectacular for white. Truth be told, I mean, these are things that, when you see the engine playing it and you play maybe a few practice games against the engine holds it with such consummate ease, maybe even beats you with black. You sort of say, easy. But when you have to play it yourself, you suddenly realize how accurate the engine has played in order to reduce your play. And I'm not really a fan of playing this sort of engine preparation, I have to say.
So what does black have for the pawn then?
Open files, activity, and the fact that this pawn is very hard to advance. And if you're lucky, you'll be so active that you'll tie white down to defending this pawn, and white won't be able to do anything particularly active against you. But in terms of, can black actually win if white does nothing at all? No, absolutely not. Or only an engine would be able to manage it with unbelievably active play, if that. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see how this goes, really. I mean, I do have to say, I had that experience once against a similar experience once against the French player, French grandmaster Emanuel Lasker.
Oh yeah.
Can I remember how it went? It was quite a crucial game, actually, in the Linares zonal. It was for qualification to the interzonal. So he played the von Hennig-Schara gambit against me, and all very good. So sort of played the lines, and the good old traditional way of playing, and for which I was incredibly well prepared, is to castle queenside. Here you played queen e7 and castle queenside and throw the pawn forward, and I'd done loads of preparation on this. Not for him. He normally played the King's Indian, but I had it all. But what he did simply was he played the bishop to b4.
Okay.
So I said, okay, I think I played bishop d2, and or did I play e3 or something? I'm not sure. And am I going to come up in the master's database then? I'm not sure. And then he just castled, and he played this position just a pawn down. And
Right.
you know, I was thinking I'm a pawn up simply. I mean, you know, but he played it really, really well. And, you know, with the 2 open files and the pressure and, you know, the fact that my pieces are still not that active, I never managed to get anything. I never managed to increase the opening advantage I felt I had. And we ended up just making a draw. And, you know, that was, and I was so frustrated with it, you know, that I thought I was a pawn up and I didn't manage to do anything. And yeah, I mean, this is, you could have this sort of effect as well, but it's just much more difficult to do than the engines make it seem appear. So yeah, be interested to see this, how this goes. I think it's one of those differences between engine prep and practice simply. But the interesting thing is, of course, if black is really well prepared here, then well, yeah, and yeah, you know, then maybe you know loads and loads of lines to really get yourself close to a brilliant
the end of the game. Yeah,
virtually, yeah. But and black is playing pretty fast, it must be said. So what he's done here, he's gone for the 2 bishops. Yeah, that's quite sensible in actual fact. Gone for the 2 bishops. I mean, maybe he's even going to try and go for the opposite coloured bishops, and then say, okay, I'm just gonna sit on here and just claim that this is going to be a draw. He might be right. I mean, he might be right here. I mean, if you swap off the rooks as well, the likelihood that you're going to be able to do anything with white is pretty small, because your king's so safe, of course, you know, and these pawns are a gorgeous barrier. Yeah, I mean, this probably it's already drawn, I think, now. What did the engine say? 0.0. Yeah. It's probably already drawn here.
All right.
Maybe.
We? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So very interesting. I mean, very interesting approach. But yeah. Rook d8. I'm sure this is. And then at some stage he'll go bishop f3, and yeah, it's just finished. Very, yeah, almost feels unfair somehow. As a 1d4 player, I feel it's very unfair. But,
yeah. Let's really look at Stevie Gordon, the next board down, because that one, there's a big difference in time on the clock. So I wonder if this is another one where it's a sort of theoretical line.
Stevie, no, I saw what Stevie had done. This very clever. This very good, very good. So I mean, actually, Stevie is oh, good Lord, we've lost Natasha from a. We're back. You didn't notice that. Sorry, I'm doing the Jedi wave there. Nobody noticed. We weren't away. So yeah. So one of the big problems when you're a 1d4 player, it's the semi-Slav. That's a big problem. If Mr. Beads is in the chat, then hello, Mr. Beads. Every time you say semi-Slav, you have to think of Mr. Beads.
Okay.
Yes. But so yeah, so one of the most gorgeous ways of meeting it is to go to 1c4 or 1 knight f3 and play around the semi-Slav basically. And this is what, of course, Stevie Gordon is a 1c4 player, so he gets this naturally. And I mean, a lot of players have played this way. Anish Giri has played some lovely little games with this sort of system. And the point is that you avoid playing d4, and you point your pieces very much towards the black king. Now you can do it now in various ways. Stevie played the move bishop e2, which is that doesn't have to be a quiet move. It can explode later. But I mean, at one stage, rook g1 was incredibly popular, with the idea of playing g4 to g5. I just wonder whether, do we see Anish, a game of Anish in here? Not quite sure, but you see a lot of
Grandelius.
You see a lot of players playing this way. H4 also is a move. H3 also played, and I mean bishop e2. and then, for example, I don't know, rook e8, and then rook g1 on the next move is also, you know, completely orthodox. So there's a lot of, you know, a lot of very aggressive options here.
Poker Chess Journal is recommending the game Navara Finek.
Navara Finek. Well, there we are. That's I'm sure that one's brilliant as well. If David's a fantastic player, David Navara. So yeah, I mean, this is really nice. It basically gives you you know, a lovely little sideways option against the semi-Slav and avoids all the you know, the 30 or 40 moves of theory. Now Black has got a lot of different possibilities. E5 may not be bad, but it is, I do find it incredibly risky, because you play c takes d5, and now I think that knight takes d5 is the best move to play. But there's some incredibly sharp lines with knight e4, bishop c7, and then you can play g4 if you want, and in you go, lads, and castle queenside and d4, and in we go. So c takes d5 is natural, of course, but now we hit you with knight b5, and after bishop b8, then we've got rook c1, and we've also got lines like bishop a3 as well, and this is just, yeah, this is just actually rather unpleasant for Black to deal with. So Black played e4, we go knight fd4. Funnily enough, if you've gone here, White's played bishop e2, which is very, very useful. If you've gone rook g1 instead of bishop e2, you know, this line can occur too, but then Black's best defense is then to take the pawn on h2 and come back, and you're sort of playing, well, with the pawn extra, I've got some compensation, but with a bishop on e2 you don't have that, of course. So this should actually be really nice for White. I mean, White's going to get in a knight c7, get the pair of bishops, control of the c file. It could be a huge position for White. So yeah, this is very, very nice indeed, and I think that Black's probably realizing now, oh dear, I probably shouldn't have taken with the c pawn on d5. Knight takes d5 would have been better. Yeah. So that, I think that's Stevie using his experience there, you know, to get around a player who probably always plays the semi-Slav. You know, I think that's probably what Stevie noticed and said, okay, I can you know, if he wants to get his structure, then I set myself up a bit differently, and I can exploit some of the weaknesses of it. Oh, let me just have a quick look at Tim Grutte, because I can get to use my Scottish accent here.
Scottish?
Yeah, Natasha looking somewhat panicked. No, because here in this position, after knight f6, Tim Grutte played the Mackenzie.
Okay.
So yeah, it's to be honest, it was a system that was just generally popular in the 1870s. And but there's a book that came out not too long ago where they said it was called Play the Mackenzie, because Mackenzie played it like 13 or 14 times with a really good result. And for those who don't know, George Mackenzie was a Scottish player who emigrated to the United States, sort of post Morphy, and became the United States' strongest player for probably something like 15 years. And in actual fact, he was one of the strongest players in the world. He came over to Europe a few times and did incredibly well in the major international tournaments. And actually, after he won one of those tournaments in the United States, they were proclaiming him world champion. He was that good. But very sharp tactician. Yeah, I mean, just a very good player, actually. I was there's a big biography of him that came out recently that was incredibly interesting to read. But actually, after this, so after e takes d4, castles, bishop e7, e5, knight e4, knight takes d4. So the big thing about this line is that if you go knight c5, White plays knight f5. Ha ha! Och, the new. And sorry, apologies to to Andy B if he's watching.
Apology, Poker Chess Journal, which might be Andy B, says it's a brutal Scottish accent.
Wonderful. So, which is really, really strong. Yeah, castles is the best, and then normally there's actually knight f5 is the normal way that you continue here. The e pawn is still not hanging because of queen d5, and then after knight f5, then d5 happens, and you've got two ways of playing. You can take, and take here, which is quite interesting. And you can also just take on here and play c3 and play with the two bishops. It's quite an interesting line. I mean, definitely worthy of interest. And you can also do it against the Berlin as well, which is a sort of a universal weapon. I've spent some time down the rabbit hole looking at this. Just got interested whilst reading the this wonderful biography, Macfarlane Books, and I've forgotten the author's name again. I keep on forgetting it. My apologies to him. It's John something, but I think it's John Ilbert, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But yeah, no, quite interesting. But actually, Tim played Rookie One.
Ilbert says Poker Chess Journal.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, brilliant book. Really worth seeing. So yeah,
and I mean, just a few moves ago that that Michael Adams' name flashed up in the Masters database, and I also remember that. Oh, there you go. It was just there. Henry Adams. There you go. Henry Adams, I think, drew with Mickey Adams. Isn't that right? In the first round of Cambridge a little while back.
Okay.
Anyway, yes, Henry is 20 years old, so another young English player. And Wilsonius just pointed out that in his previous game, he got 100% accuracy.
My goodness.
Yes, that is accurate.
That is accurate.
Sussex youngster, says Wilsonia.
So Wilson is
quite a local player as well, then, for the Hastings crowd.
So yeah, Wilsonia is full of stats. Actually, maybe we should have him as the official statistician of the of the channel. You know, and yes. It's yeah, Rookie One played, which is another way of playing. I like it a bit less, but quite interesting. Rookie 8, Bishop E3, and F4, and yeah, I mean, in general, I mean, I whenever you've got this sort of structure where the pawns on E5, F4, and they're not going forwards for the moment. I always tend to quite like black, actually. But actually, it can be quite dangerous. And Gawain Jones, in particular, has made a living both from playing and from writing courses about systems in which this structure happens, and yet somehow you manage to push it through. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game proceeds. But yeah, very nice opening choice, and a wonderful opportunity to display my talent for regional accents. So very much appreciated there.
Should we see Danny Gormally?
Danny Gormally, he had an amazing game this morning, I have to say. I think it was Aaron Saunders managed to hold his position together. I don't know. It was quite amazing. But I think Danny's been a little bit unlucky somehow with the old. Just had a lot of good positions and not quite been able to put them away somehow. But now playing the talented IM Aramudan Balaji. So we've got another King's Indian. I think it's wonderful that Danny keeps on playing the King's Indian. Yes. All the time, just like Gawain Jones, really the big English players who play the King's Indian all the time. So knight A6, very early. Interesting. I wonder why Danny plays it that early against Bishop E2. Maybe some specific idea. Maybe intended. Maybe if White plays this Bishop E3 line, then Danny's looking for a super quick attack on E4. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Yeah. But White played H3 anyway. It's a slightly odd move. Combination of Bishop E2 and H3. It's possible, but always feels a little bit odd. But castles are now Bishop E3. So but I'm seeing Richard Rapport's name on there, which normally indicates that something weird is happening. So C5 played. and d5 played, and now e6. So we're sort of back into a modern sort of Benoni, where, yeah, black's played a very early knight a6. Not necessarily bad, but slightly unusual. So white
is saying he had the b5 position last year without h3, knight a6, and it wasn't good for black.
Okay.
b5.
Well, you're going to see, because after knight f3, took on d5. Now, to be honest, e takes d5 would be the safe positional way of playing it, which should be a slight edge for white. These structures, generally speaking, black doesn't have any big counterplay with b5 or anything like a normal modern Benoni, and you've just got this rather weak pawn. It's not huge, but we've also got this move h3 very handy, stopping the bishop coming to g4, stopping the knight coming to g4. And after bishop f5, you could probably play something like knight h4, for example, or knight d2, and then look to chase back the bishop with g4. So, yeah. But white played c takes d5. And here Danny threw in b5. So what is il punto of this move? Well, obviously, knight takes b5 allows knight takes e4, so we're happy there. And if bishop b5, we will take on e4. So if you try and take that one, so you can take this one, we've got the little Zwischenzug on c3. Sorry, I thought it was. I thought that was almost your automatic reply to everything.
It's true. I was worrying the stream had cut out again.
So knight takes e4. We go queen a5 check.
Yes, and the knight.
And I mean, this is very similar to a variation that you get in the big main lines with bishop d3 and h3 in the modern Benoni. Only, yeah, I think that this is probably going to be a very good version. Knight c3, the key point is that we chop a rooney and take here. And you could do something like knight d2 takes and knight takes d6, but actually normally in that line I mentioned, the bishop's on c1, so the pawn's protected, but here we could just take on there. So this is probably just going to be very, very good for black. So after b5,
Kathy plays chess is saying, I remember this position. Stan played it recently, which I'm not sure if he means this position or
well, I know exactly what he means.
Yes.
Because if we go back to round numero due, and we go to Stanley against Tor Frederick Carson, then we see this one. Which does indeed have a certain similarity to it. Yes,
okay.
Indeed.
Nice.
So, no, brilliant, well remembered. But let's get back to our Zwischenzugs. Yeah, so it's actually not so easy to think how to react to that. To be honest, I would have suggested playing the move e5 in this position, to meet d takes e5 with bishop b5, when you at least break open, this whole structure simply, and you get rid of that e4 pawn as a problem. Because what white did is really quite scary, really. He played a3, and then Danny just went whoops with b4. Takes and takes, and now I guess that white didn't want to take on here, because this does give you a certain dilemma here along here simply, but white played the move knight b1. Now obviously knight takes e4, we can take on a6, but I mean Danny's just gone knight c5 here now, and I mean this is really looking like the dream game for any modern Benoni player somehow. You've got b4 in with tempo, the center's collapsing. It's really very, very
half an hour up on the clock.
Indeed. So I mean, what could white do? Well, I mean, white's got two ideas as far as I can tell. I mean, you've either you play e5 here, exploiting the fact that takes would allow there. But after knight e4, protecting that knight, you've got to come up with something plausible to do with your pawn. And if this is happening, then this is quite worrying for white. Or you could try and chop a rooney here and be a second person who's given Danny all the dark squares in this tournament. But this is maybe this is the best option, and just try and hold those light squares. But it's not very clear, because I mean, if I go something like rook e8, attacking this one, I mean, if you go bishop d3, I just go queen takes d5, and if you were to play queen c2, I mean, there could be many things in this position, but the key first point is that castle queen side will allow knight takes d5, because there's the bishop on e2 is hanging. So I mean, you're not getting castled anytime soon, so it really does look horrible for white. So I think white's in really a lot of trouble here already after here, you know. So yeah, Danny's looking good here for the moment.
Should we see Stanley and Aditya?
Let's move on. Oh, sorry. Oh, I should have used the Mr. Bede's magnifying glass.
Yeah.
But whoa, Aditya against. Oh yeah, I saw this. This was all a bit crazy. So let's have a look how we got this opening.
This one.
D4, a King's Indian from Stanley. He either plays the King's Indian or the Mon Benoni, but we've got a good old King's Indian here. And this is the Makoganov system with white. Yeah, early h3, giving you the opportunity to both either to play g4 or to play bishop e3 without getting chased away by knight g4. Often played, to be honest, one move earlier when you can do it, and then playing with the bishop on e3 and keeping it like this. This is quite a dangerous system. With the knight on f3, or it's a little bit thought to be a little bit less dangerous, but still a major system. So all sorts of things possible. I think that Stanley's played knight a6 systems before, but here he plays the very quick knight h5, which basically aims to get ahead of g4, and also bishop g5, sidestepping the pin. But then g3 is a main move, stopping the knight from getting into f4. And your idea is that you're going to play bishop e2, and then move this knight and then target this one, force the knight back, and then later play g4. Actually, I think that this is what happened in Alex Golding's crazy game this morning.
Okay.
But Stanley played f5.
Yes.
And white took on f5, and now Stanley took on here. Now, Natasha, why doesn't white play the move knight takes c5, uncovering the attack on the knight here?
Well, white could try that, but black would hit him with a shocking Zwischenzug of knight takes g3.
Well, knight takes g3 is possible, but there's actually something even stronger here.
An even more shocking Zwischenzug. Ah, you'd pin the knight, maybe, like queen e8.
Queen e8. Defending knight h5 and winning the knight on e5. So it just wins the piece. Because if bishop e2, we go queen e5, and bishop e2 is pinned.
It's pinned.
So there's two moves here. There's knight g5 and there's knight h4, and university theses have been written about which is best. Lots have been tried in lots. 291 games for knight h4, 192 for knight g5. So knight h4 played, and yeah, I mean, knight f6 is very decent, but knight f4 is also possible, and that is what Stanley did.
Okay.
Now, white played very riskily here. The point is, you don't actually have to take that knight. No. You could just play the bishop to d2 or to e3 and just look to castle queen side afterwards, and then just leave the knight hanging. Often the knight retreats back to g6, and then you're aiming to exchange it off. But Aditya played g takes f4. It's also known, but it's very, very risky. Queen h4.
It's been played by lots of strong players, though.
Lots of strong players. It's scoring very, very well with white, it must be said. So f takes e5 here, and now d takes e5. So, and then rook g1. So, I mean, you've got quite a lot of danger here, hitting the old black king Rooney there. And you've also got an idea of bishop g5 here, of course. And traditionally, black has played the move f4 here to stop that, but it does concede the square e4. But here it looks like Stanley has played a novelty, at least in the in the Masters and in the live chess database, which is h6, stopping bishop g5.
Makes sense on the face of it.
So, normally this is not a good move, right? To weaken, to put this pawn on square can be attacked, and to also weaken the light squares there. But I'm not sure. I mean, the point is about these, these Mikhailov systems, and I've had quite a bit of experience with them, is that they always feel like you're at the black king's throat. But if black manages to put up a bit of resistance, it can often feel a little bit disappointing. And so I guess that this is what Stanley is trying to do here. Yeah, very, very interesting, interesting idea. I don't know whether this was preparation or whether Stanley has made this one up, but not a very interesting choice, and very interesting to just try and hold black for now, keep those pawns flexible, and well, you're going to be coming in with your pieces, King's Indian style, and see what happens. So white played very aggressively here with c5 after a long think.
Yeah.
I mean, I would normally say that the most natural thing for white would be to put the bishop somewhere. Maybe not e3, because then we get hit with f4. So maybe bishop d2, and then try and castle and just get the king castled, and then try and say, okay, we're going to line up on the king side later. But white played the move c5 here. Knight d7 and c6 doesn't feel right to me, I have to say, but very aggressive plan here. D takes c6, takes knight f6, and now knight b5. I mean, white is really going for it. I mean, these pieces are really on the back rank here still. Yeah. It's not as it's not as bad as it looks. Don't quite mean it like that, but because in a way these pieces are active. I mean, the bishop is taking a look at h6, the rook is on the g file, the queen has got potential. Only it's just that king on e1, you're worried that something might happen to it, But
where was our knight? Could we have gone queen b3 just to get some pieces out?
You could have done, but we would have moved here, I guess. Yeah. And and just asked you, what your next move is. Yeah, very interesting. I mean, knight b5 played. It's incredibly aggressive. And Stanley has just said, okay, well, you can have my pawn, but I'm putting my rook on b8. And if you come here, I guess Stanley will probably rook b4 or something like that. And sort of in we go. I really do fear for white here, because I mean, there's already a threat of rook b5, bishop b5, and queen b4 check here. So the threats are coming here somehow.
But instead of Poker Chess Journal suggesting instead of c5 that 14 queen e2 was very good.
Queen e2, that would have been a good
on g7 apparently, and this is quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's you're threatening rook g7 and there, so you would have needed to go knight d7 there, but then maybe bishop d2 and then castle queen side. That's something like that would be much more sensible, I think. This is very aggressive from white, but I do fear for white's king. So we'll see. But I mean, Aditya survived a hell of a King's Indian experience against Danny Gormali, where he lost all of the dark squares, but still, managed to emerge with a great position. So yeah, we'll just have to see how that one turns out. But very, very interesting stuff. Let's have a look. Let's go back to the top board and okay. So
what is h4 in?
So bishop d7. Bishop d7 was played by black here, which is not the main move. Actually, castles is the main move. I'm wondering. I've got it in my head that the bishop d7 was suggested by Peter Wells.
Could be.
Was recommended by Peter Wells in one of his books. Yeah, I'm not quite sure about that, but it's certainly one of them. It's certainly a move that I've got in my head. Bishop d7 and a quick knight c6 as something maybe a little bit more reliable than or simpler than castles. But look at Simon go. So knight takes c6 played. So knight takes c6, I think, is a novelty.
Okay.
Has been played in the Lead Chess database, but it's not a known move in the Masters database, and not a known move in my Hierarchs book either. So bishop c6, and now castles queenside. My goodness.
Well, it's better than castles kingside.
Well, that is true.
That
In this case,
in
this case, castling kingside would be less safe than castling queenside. That's
even without the pawns there. Yeah.
Castles, and now Simon, of course, has moved Harry the H pawn, and he'll be looking for rook h3 to g3. So this is very similar to that game of Magnus's that I talked about, but yeah, I mean, obviously incredibly sharp this. So let's have a look. What can we? We're out of book. So what can we do here? Well, let's have a look at the most natural thing for black, which is to play the move rook ac8. You can't think of a more natural move than that, and we will play rook h3. Do notice one thing actually, that the rook on the third rank here also defends the pawn on c3. So the king is not as crazily unsafe as you might think. So how are we going to do this with black? Well,
maybe
we've got
black. Yeah, I was thinking bishop e4.
Yeah, bishop e4 is one idea.
Could drop back if needed.
It's one idea. We've also got the idea king h8 simply, which is, or we could move the queen out already to f6 or e5. That would be another idea. Let's have a look at your idea, bishop e4. I will go rook g3 and bishop g6. And now, the interesting thing about this is that we do have the move h5 at some stage. But of course, our bishop on c4 is hanging. So we've got to manage that somehow and try and work out how. Now, I mean, you could, if h5 straight away, rook c4, I mean, that's going to be fine for black. These things don't necessarily have to be fine, but this one is, of course. I could throw in a bishop takes c6 and h5, but it's unlikely to be anything enormous. I mean, I could always go a rook f6, for example, and there's bound to be loads more other things there. So I'm going to need a little place for my bishop, and it can drop back to many different places, b3 being the most obvious, e2 also not being silly.
Yeah, you can't really go d3 because it cuts off the defense on the c pawn. Otherwise,
exactly. But you don't have to worry about the d file because this would be rather embarrassing for black.
Yeah.
So why am I putting the bishop on e2? Well, the reason is that I am threatening h5 in a big way, and if you go h5 now, I will go bishop takes e5, h5, and actually, I'm not quite sure how black deals with this, because I'm just going to go h5, and you will need some incredibly clever tactics in order to be able to deal with that. And I don't think you can. I mean, you can try and knock me from the d file, but I'll just go queen e3, rook takes, bishop takes, and the bishop is gone. So I think that bishop e4 is not possible from that point of view. So I think that we would need to look at, well, king h8 would be the most natural for me. Probably my go-to move, and then we're going to have a look at what white can do here. So, well, let's just give rook g3 a go, just have a look, and we could play the queen to e5 or to f6. f6 seems more normal. I mean, e5, the queen is a target for the white rook, and in general, I mean, it sort of feels like you want to keep the queen somewhere around the king side there. So queen f6 feels like the most natural. We're also threatening the pawn on h4. That would be quite risky. But and now the question is, does white have anything here? not easy to really come up with something amazing. I mean, we've got a few ideas. We could go Queen G5. That's the first thing that occurs to me, with the idea of maybe taking like this, and then you'd say, I've maybe got some pressure against here, but it's not. It doesn't look great.
And out, don't you? Because bishop.
There is bishop G2. I mean, we could go bishop E6 and rook G2, but I would imagine that this would just be even.
Yeah, because that can still take on C3 at the end.
Yeah. Now, another thing that you could think of would be maybe to go Queen E3. The idea again here is if bishop G2, yeah, I mean, rook G2, rook C4 would not be good news. What I would be aiming for would be to go play the move rook D4, and hoping that that tempo, because I'm now threatening rook takes G2, would be enough to secure big counterplay. I'm not very sure about that, but let's just say, for argument's sake, bishop C6, rook F4. Well, we have done a good job in the sense that the queen has to move away to E7. But the question is now, can we make anything huge of that? We can go Queen E5 check, but then you go F6. And, well, we've regained our pawn, but it's not clear really how amazing that is. Well, White's got a little bit of an initiative because the black king's in the corner there, but not 100% clear. I'd love to play a move like rook F7, but it doesn't work simply. You know, I've always got space to block there. So I don't actually know whether we've got anything amazing. I'd love to sacrifice on H7 and get a queen to the H file, but I don't know. I don't know whether I can really do something like that. So it's not even, you know, this fairly favorable version for me where I'm getting all my tempi. I'm not 100% sure how this is working for White, other than giving you the opportunity to you know, regain a pawn and you know, and maybe although, yeah, I've just noticed actually that after rook F4 here, I mean, Queen A3 check is not without danger. Because if King B1, I could try rook E8 here. And I don't know. Hey, Natasha! A little Zwischenzug there. Just unfortunately, nothing quite is working. I mean, rook G8 would be absolutely brilliant, of course. But after rook G7, I don't have Queen F8 with a gorgeous mate or anything, because there's the queen's covering. So I don't know. I'm not sure about this one. I'm not sure how you go about making something of that. Yeah, I'm just simply not sure how you go about making something of that one. I don't know whether we've got a better. I mean, we could, I suppose, you know, we could just sort of play a move like, well, if I do it like this, then you've got rook D8, which I think is a bit annoying. I mean, what I could do is just say, okay, I'm just going to play my bishop to B3. If you go bishop G2, I laugh at you and win your bishop. Queen G2 looks just unbelievable. Hard to believe that would really get away with it. Although I wouldn't bet against it, but you are going to have to deal with the old Queen G5 and Queen H6. But the positive thing of playing the bishop to B3 is that rook D8 is still impossible because I take on here.
Yeah.
And then when you go Queen, what are you going to do actually? Maybe something like Queen F6. Maybe I can come up with something, you know, more exciting. But I'm not quite sure what that would be. Maybe this is just, you know, just quite even somehow.
What if you keep pushing your H pawn?
Yeah, I'll go rook D8 maybe. Just start exchanging off pieces, really, you know, and I'm not 100% sure about it. Doesn't get my heart beating faster, put it that way, but that might just be, I might just be getting old, and maybe I don't have a pulse anymore. Maybe I'm a vampire. So I think I've been watching too many horror films recently, but yeah, I don't know. I think the black's doing fine. I think the black's
in G5, with the idea that if you swap queens to try and gang up on.
Yeah, we looked at this idea in a slightly different scenario. Yeah, it's definitely an idea. Only I don't I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how good it's going to turn out to be. Whether it's going to be an advantage or whether you just say and with equality simply. The latter I kind of suspect. But Black's played King H8 and not even Rook C8, and White's played Rook H3. So yeah, Rook C8 looks very sensible to me. I don't know whether Black's got another idea. I mean, maybe Black's thinking Black's thinking of playing Rook G8 here, just to be really safe, and really cover the G file somehow. That would also not. I've never seen it before, but it wouldn't be a silly idea at all. I think we're kind of talking about we've really got essentially we've got equality on the board here. I think is what we're saying. But we'll see. We'll see how all that goes. But I think Black's come through quite well through the opening piecing together test, I would say. Wojciech Platt against Alex Golding is ended in a draw.
Okay.
So well done, Alex.
Yeah.
Good drawing against a high-rated opponent like that. And I mean, he moves to both players move. He moves to 6 points, half a point ahead of Wojciech. So with an elo gain of 6, and probably the white piece is tomorrow morning. So it is tomorrow morning, isn't it? Yes, tomorrow morning.
They're starting earlier tomorrow. It's 10 o'clock.
Indeed. So pretty interesting stuff there. So let's have a little look. What else have we got? The game on board 2, Saruna Solskis and Marius Ndoye against Saruna Solskis. So what was that opening again? This was funny. Sarunas played the very early knight e4, which is a Mikhail Tal idea. Sorry. So played against Botvinnik in the 1960 World Championship, the first one, and he got a very good position with it. The idea is basically to take on c3 and then play a quick f5. Definitely not stupid. So Queen c2 was played by White, and then f5, and after Bishop d3, took, and b takes c3. And castles, and this is a pawn sacrifice, which I haven't seen it in this specific position, but I've seen it. The one closest to it was the great Danish player Bent Larsen, who did this against Svetozar Gligoric, a big expert on the 4e3, the Rubinstein Nimzo Indian, and that turned out quite nicely. This one's much earlier and much riskier. So White took the pawn sacrifice, and Black's idea is that he's going to be entrenching himself on the light squares, but on the other hand, he is just a pawn down. So it's kind of not quite clear. I do think that you're a bit light on compensation here. I know we saw the game between Laurent Paoli and Tor Frederick Carson, where Black just gave away a pawn like that, but this one definitely feels like you'd love a pawn f7 here, really. What does the engine say? Plus 0.6. So the engine thinks there's compensation, but
not enough.
Not quite enough, really. 0.6 is a little bit it's a little bit much, but okay. Black keeps on fighting here. Knight a5, f3, knight c4, knight g3, queen d7. White gets in the move e4, bishop g6, and it's just that if White manages to get these pawns rolling, then that'll be quite nasty. But this bishop is a bit light on squares. I mean, and whilst this bishop is struggling to get active, this rook as well. I mean, one idea for White is to go a4, rook a2 over. That's quite a common idea. Like one idea for Black, though, is to play h5 to h4. It's a typical example here from Black of well, you won't find this in the theory books. You won't have any preparation against it, but Black has some ideas. White's got to find something against it. So very interesting play there from Black.
We have a request for Stephen Gordon's game.
Oh, yeah. He's got everything.
He's doing well, and Black's nearly in Zugzwang at move 19.
Yeah, he's got everything a man could desire, really, in the against the semi-Slav. Yeah, this is brilliant position. Control of the open C file, 2 bishops for now, and B5 square, lovely. Stevie Gordon's going to be loving this, and a huge advantage on time as well. So bishop takes C5, current threat, with rook takes C8 afterwards. So yeah, no, it's just huge for White. So you'd really expect White to put this one away from here. Let's have a look. How are they doing on board 5 here? So well, we've got this position. Black's got the 2 bishops. White's got an extra pawn, but
probably a draw, as we thought.
It's a draw. It's a draw simply. I mean, it's probably it's plus 0.2, but I thought it would be a 0-0, but yeah, no, it's just drawn.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, Harry Bryant. Should we look at Harry Bryant on board 7?
Right. So against so Black is a pawn down here. Yeah, he's got a queenside pawn majority. Unfortunately, this pawn on b6 is kind of backwards, so it's not really an active pawn majority, and White's targeting it. And Black's got some active-ish pieces, but it's just going to be very hard, I think, to do anything with this. And yeah, I think Black's in a lot of trouble here, unfortunately, for Harry. But yeah, just a pawn down. His big trumps really aren't getting active. It's going to be tough. Going to be a tough one now. Yeah. Let's have a look. We've got we're having a look at Danny. Oh, so Bishop C5 was played, Rook E8 played, Queen C2. It's what we suggested, and now actually Danny's just lining up on the pawn, and I think you're just losing this E pawn. Because
of the pin, you can't go Bishop D3.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the only thing you could try is to go D6, but you're not going to be that pawn. It's not going to survive for long. I mean, you could even just do this if you wanted to. Even that would be very, very dangerous. But there's no need. I mean, I think you go Queen E6 and you just line up, and you're going to win both those pawns. I think just horrible for White. I'm afraid that's just opening that's just gone terribly, terribly wrong there. Whoa! So. Well, Aditya grabbed that pawn on c7. Stanley just took his king out of the way there, and he's come in with knight e4. I mean, this is looking really worrying for Aditya here, with a lot of active pieces for Black, and
yeah.
Well,
so Black's threat is Queen f2. If White takes on e4,
we'll probably take like this, I think.
Yeah,
maybe, because you can't protect with the bishop because you got Rook B2.
Yeah. Oh, and everything's falling apart.
Yeah. No, I think Queen E2 is the only move that you've got here. And well, I mean, as always, you've got to, you can say, "Ooh, it looks horrible," which it does. But you still got to finish it off somehow. It's not,
oh yeah, that's good.
Not 100%. I mean, a move like Rook B6 looks quite reasonably sensible. Simply, I just want to take the pawn and say, you don't have that at all. That would be quite sensible. The other nice thing is that if the knight moves away, we could have a bishop A6 possibly. That would be very nice. So Rook B6 would be my thought there. And I think that White's just in a fair amount of trouble here, just due to the lack of development, really. But yeah, crazy things can happen in these games. But I think a Queen C2 played. That's possible too. Protecting the pawn, and just it feels a bit far away.
Yeah,
feels
you can still do Rook B6, can't you? Because you might even be threatening to play Rook takes.
Yeah, no, it's possible. I'm even tempted with Rook B4 actually, just to
cement the knight.
Just to threaten Rook C4. that also feels quite tempting, and maybe be able to bring the rook along the 4th rank. So, but indeed, rook b6 is also a possible threat here as well. It's just that I was thinking with bishop b4 fe, or maybe got some line around here. So maybe I'd like to.
That's right.
Maybe I'd like to play rook b4, but I don't know. I mean, you know, there's some decent possibilities all round there. And if you go bishop b3, I mean, that was the other one that you know, if I go rook b6, then bishop b3 might be possible because you're defending b2. Obviously, if I go rook b4, you're not hitting it. I might be able to play f4 and then follow up quickly with bishop f5 to plug that. So.
Oh right, but they could take on e4, could they?
Yeah, I'm thinking of bishop e4, rook e4, queen e4, bishop f5, and then I'll have fe maybe. No, I'm going bananas. Queen g2. Mustn't go bananas. Mustn't go bananas. So bishop e3. Maybe bishop e3. You're going to be seeing it that Aditya is just it's just got a far better understanding of what holds in these positions.
Yeah, because the knight could come back to d5, and then it's getting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting very excited here, but and then now I'm sort of wondering how we're going to put this away somehow. But I said, you know, Aditya survived a position against Danny that I would have, you know, I had given it up in actual fact. So he's obviously got a good feel for how resilient these King's Indian positions are.
Yeah.
I wonder.
He's like Gukesh. He can take all these risks with his king and stuff and just get
exactly.
away.
Yeah. No, he's just got this this sense of yeah. I mean, now you're starting to question Stanley's king h7 and think, oh, you should really, wouldn't it be nice if you put the king on h8 somehow? That's the so one thing that you're thinking about there. I mean, rook, yeah, I'm vaguely tempted by rook d8 as well. It's a very odd move, though, to move the rook away. But I want to play rook d2. That's the thing. But interesting. I mean, White's putting up a great fight here, so going to be an interesting game. Absolutely. Let's have a look. Should we have a look at Badana?
Yes, why not?
Oh, she's got another ending there.
So this time, opponent has the bishop pair.
Yeah. Oh, I think no, she's not going to grab it. So bishop c4, b3 will happen. You can get in a few tempi in though, like that. But in principle, it's even. I mean, black's a little bit better with I think with a you know, a bishop pair always. But white's very solid as well. So it's my goodness, Badana has had so many endgames this tournament.
Yeah,
she had one as well in the first game today as well. So
yeah. Different endgames each time though. We had
different endgames each time.
A knight endgame, we had a rook and pawn endgame, and now we've got a double minor piece ending. So it's good to get the trading in of all the different types.
Exactly. Let's have a look. Has anything happened with Simon? Yeah, black did play rook g8, so that was black's idea. I think that's a very good idea, actually, very safe idea. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what Simon should do now.
What was our idea if rook g3?
I think we just go queen f6 here. Yeah. Pardon me. And we're just claiming that we've got it sort of covered, really. Yeah. I think I think it's probably at some stage the sensible thing is just to try and swap off the queens and just to, you know, accept that it's going to be equal. I think so. I don't think you're going to get any attacking chances now. I mean, the only sharp move you could look at would be to play queen f4. You know, trying to take away the squares from the black queen and threatening rook g3. That is possible. But I'm slightly wondering about queen g2, with the idea that queen f6 we just return, but we've nabbed a pawn. Obviously, queen f7. I've got queen takes h3, which does not looks a little bit worrying. It's not completely clear. I mean, queen f6, rook there is more awkward than you think, because the queen's covering the pawn on c3. And the idea is if rook g8, I want to go bishop takes e6. It could be surprisingly dangerous, because if I did a move, you know, an obvious move like queen h2, for example, I just go rook g7 and queen f8 is suddenly mate.
What if you go? Could you after bishop rook g8 bishop?
You could go queen takes.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Is that terrible?
That's very evil. Yeah, that's right. That'd just be good for he's gone queen f4. He has gone queen f4. I thought he might. So okay, so well, let's have a look at queen g2 then. What are we doing there?
Where does the queen go?
Queen g2.
Because look, what if this might be backwards, but queen bishop f1.
We'll probably go. Oh, you want queen g7, rook g3? That's what you want.
Yeah, if it goes on the g4, I want to go rook g3, and if it goes off it, maybe we take on f7, depending on what the position is.
Yeah, I mean, I start getting stuff like e5 somehow, where I can start. You know, queen f5, I'd have queen h6 check, and queen e3, I can go queen f6. I mean, here I could take on there and take and take, but you know, it's not better for white, I don't think. I just go rook f8 simply, you know, and but bishop f1's a funny move. Yeah, if I go queen e4, I guess you could take on here, but I'm not sure about this, you know. Not sure. Could be a bit careful. I'm wondering what Simon's idea here is after queen takes g2. Queen f7. I mean, we had this crazy line, but I mean, I could also throw in a little rook f8 here, which looks worrying. Well, okay, maybe it's worrying for both players. I can go queen e5 check here, but I mean, that's hanging. Feels like it's hanging a bit on the thread there, but maybe that's okay. But I mean, after queen f7, queen h3. Well, I guess I would always have a draw.
Maybe that
is true. That is true. Okay, so that's good to know. So queen g2, maybe queen f7 is the idea. When we know that we've always got a draw after queen h3, queen f6. So okay, so now but black's just got to try and see. I mean, rook g7 is an idea, but then I go queen e6 again. Defending, well, queen f6, or I could even just go queen f6, of course. Queen h3, rook d8, that would be a draw. Just to check that I'm not being silly. Would there be something here?
Oh, I see.
And I go here. Well, that is that is incredibly awkward, I have to say. Yeah, no, I think I think what I need to do actually is to go queen g2 there, maybe. And after there I come here. And then if takes, check, we've got a perpetual there.
High infinity life.
This is surprisingly dangerous, I have to say.
What about check down onto h1?
Yeah, I'll go. I guess I'll come here.
And then.
Et maintenant, que vais-je faire? A classic French song there. I think it's probably an English song as well, isn't it? I'm sure it's been translated into English. Yeah, no, I don't see any better than queen g2.
Yeah.
However, I wanted to go h5.
Yeah.
And have h6 and then give the check. So that won't be perpetual, but you've got queen g5 then. Queen check, rook g8, takes, check, queen g7. We're just about able to survive there. We're just one move too slow. But that's interesting at least. That means that, yeah, rook g7, queen f6, or queen h3. So looks like the most dramatic move that black could play would be rook f8, queen e6. And now, does black have anything where you say, I don't think so, to be honest.
Yeah, you can't take that rook off the back rank. You can't play rook f2.
Now I've got queen g8 check then, so now this is not going to be anything for black. So actually it looks like queen f4, queen g2, queen f7. We are claiming here that that this is going to be this is just going to be equal, draw by perpetual. If no, wait a minute.
Rook g3.
No, after queen h3. What if we go bishop e6 now before we give the check?
Okay.
So then we go queen g2.
Yeah.
So again, that check will be equal. But do we have something here? I don't think so. Again, h5, there's queen g5 check, unfortunately. Probably there's nothing better here. Well, I mean, I can rook to d4, looking for rook g4. Looks unbelievably unlikely, really. Though, you know, never say never. But yeah, I'll go queen g6 or something. I think I'm pretty sure that I can force you to give perpetual to me. I think that this is just my feeling is that queen g2 is just a draw there. So interesting, though, very interesting, and it'll give black something to sort out. Let's have a look. We're nearly at the end of our stream, aren't we? So do you have any requests for anyone? Should we have a look at Rukaya?
Rukaya's finished.
Rukaya's finished already.
He's won already.
Very quick win there. Well played.
What about Kenneth Hobson? Did we look at him yet?
Oh yeah. Kenneth, I saw him. I'm not going to do the Mr. Beats, am I? No. Kenneth, where was he?
Just there. No, you just down about 3 boards. So.
Yeah, there we are. Oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, not looking. I mean, black's just a little bit better there, really, because you've got white's got those double C pawns. So this looks like some sort of open Sicilian that hasn't gone very well. Or what happened here? So. Kenneth played his queen d3 again against the classical this time, but early queen d3. Oh yeah, he played for this endgame, but this did not work out well at all. Oh, and had to give back his extra pawn. So black looking quite good here, really. So no, didn't go. Just an opening that didn't work out well for Kenneth there, unfortunately. But one of our talented Tuesdays guests, and actually do take a look at the most recent episode, because that was a stunning Sicilian win in a Najdorf. If you want to know yeah, that's right. If you want to learn about the 6 queen d3 idea against the Najdorf, very interesting. In the Open Sicilian, then do take a look at that game, because I think you've got a perfect demonstration there. Sacrifices all round and some good practice for you for Anastasia's mate as well. So definitely one worth watching. Let's have a look. See whether Simon e5 has been played by black. We mentioned that idea.
Okay.
Yeah, just as an idea, just to knock the white queen away. So we could go queen f7 in this position. But I guess that black would then go probably rook g2, and yeah, the white pawn structure is a little bit little bit squished there, really. And yeah, black's got some ideas of rook f8 to f2. It's not totally ideal. So yeah, black obviously showing a little bit of ambition here somehow. So could still be twists and turns in this. Queen f5 sort of vaguely appeals to me. Just keeping a track of that e5 pawn, you know, and so I'm not quite sure. You can do something like queen h6, but that can go probably to b2. Some queen e5s. Nah, still gonna be sharp. Always, it's always the same with Simon. I mean, he plays very sharply, and then people get sort of, you know, get swept up in the idea somehow. So yeah, very, very interesting. You've got to say, I've got to really give a big shout out to the players for their huge fighting spirit, because it's New Year's Day, you know, and the morning round was incredibly hard fought, and this round too. So really impressive, you know. Big shout out to everyone for that. The players really doing the tournament organizers proud, and also big shout out to the arbiters, who obviously had to be in there really early on New Year's morning to get everything sorted, and it worked perfectly. So big shout out to them, and congratulations as well, you know. And of course, you know, big shout out to Stuart Conquest, Stu the Fox, who's put this tournament together and has given us, you know, some wonderful chess here. So wonderful stuff. So there we are. I think that's going to be it. Leave you with a tournament pregnant with possibilities. And,
just one more round, isn't it? Tomorrow.
Just one more round tomorrow morning, and you know, just everyone have a very nice rest of the New Year's Day. Hope there's still some nice food and drink to finish off. Indeed, you got anything to finish off, Natasha? Or did you drink the whole the whole place dry last night?
We didn't. We were moderate. But yeah, we had a lot of games playing and games players. We had particular note Jonathan Mestel and Peter Lee, both of whom have been basically British champions in both chess and bridge. And we also had Go Player, poker. I had all the games covered.
Brilliant. Actually, have Peter and John ever played together as bridge players, or?
Not as partners. I don't.
Okay, I just wondered, because you know, obviously both senior players, so you'd really you wouldn't have thought it'd be, and you know, long-time bridge players as well. So you would have thought it wouldn't be.
Played with John Cox recently.
Ah, okay, yeah, that's definitely.
How was your New Year?
Oh, very quiet, very, very quiet. So always is. Christmas is the big thing for us and the family. That's when my mum gets very excited, because she gets presents. You know, despite being in her mid-80s, she's still very, very keen on presents. And we've still got, well, youngest.
Do your parents stay up and see in the midnight?
They do. Maybe not with 100% alertness, but they do stay up to see in the.
Were you watching the fireworks?
No, well, I watched the fireworks beforehand, all the ones from Auckland and China. My goodness, with the drones and everything, that was amazing. But no, it's not a big thing for me. New Year's Day somehow. I was I got out. I went to bed not early, but reasonably not at midnight, and so that I would be in good form to watch Hastings round 7.
Absolutely.
You know, and I certainly was. So solidarity with the players, I think, there.
Very good.
But anyway, have a good rest of New Year's Day, everyone. And thanks very much for watching. Thanks for everyone who's put comments in the chat and everything. Thanks for Will Sonia for the killer stats. And yeah.